really successful, and really Samir had set the bar very high. And though it was the first program, a sizable number of students, like close to 150 plus students, had participated in the first webinar, and it was hugely successful. And following that success, now we are coming out with the second edition with Kartheek. So Kartheek is going to address about ERP and SAP, like he's specialist in that domain. And on our request, irrespective of the time zone difference, he has agreed to meet us all by 10:30 a.m. today. He's going to address all live from Germany. And Senior Talks program is hugely successful only due to the participation and interaction of the students. And also special thanks goes out to our Alumni Association, Dr. Hari Krishna sir and Girish sir. Though he is not directly a part of SIRAM, like he is continuing an association in SIRAM institution in the core WhatsApp group, wherever we are shortlisting the profiles and finalizing the topics, he is also actively participating. And he is also one among the key player in making this event as a huge success. And a lot of students have registered for this season also, for this session also, like close to 450 to 500 registrations are happening. And students from other colleges, like in our Chennai group also, many students are requested to join this session. And past out alumni are reaching out us through emails and WhatsApp to send them the link so that they can also join. So the response is really amazing, and this is all because of everybody's teamwork. And coming on to today's program, so once again I welcome Kartheek on behalf of everyone. And we are not, see, this session is going to last for 1 hour or so, but the what Mr. Kartheek has put, or the team members backstage, whatever they put, like we have rehearsed on once on 30th or on 28th, I think. So almost 1 hour discussion we had. So he has reviewed the slides. So a lot of hard work has been put into behind every session. And Kartheek, to say a few words about Kartheek, because the profile you might have read already in the poster. But my personal experience with Kartheek is a very, very, very well behaved, very decent, disciplined, very studious, distinction student from 2004 batch. I think I remember like there will be a healthy competition between Kartheek and Girish always for who is the topper of the class. Like one semester of Kartheek comes in the top, the next semester Girish comes in the top. I could see because now the notice board carries both their names next to next. So very healthy competitions used to be there. And one more sweet memory of about Kartheek is like as soon as I completed my engineering in 2003 mechanical, I had handled him for this batch CAD-CAM lab, CAD-CAM ANSYS, all this this particular lab I handled for this batch. And seriously, this batch is one of the best batches what SIRAM has ever produced. And Kartheek, and one more credit about Kartheek is like he is one among the very, 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 very few students who got placed in through campus interview by then. Because today, you are enjoying the luxury of more than 52 or 60 companies visiting your campus every time, every year for campus interviews or selection, placement selection. But by then, campus interviews are very big things, which happens only in IITs, NITs, and very premier institutions. And it is next to impossible for self-financing colleges like us. At that time itself, with the help of staff members' contact, we had placed Kartheek and one more Ravi Kartheek, if I'm right. So both these fellows in IFB, Autoliv IFB, a mechanical core company, and the requirement of the company was very high. The percentage cutoff was very high, and the interview selection process was very tough. And these two guys are cracked and got in. And today we are seeing Kartheek in a different profile with different expertise, and today he is going to be sharing a lot of information with us. And I request all the students, so this is not a formal session where the resource person comes, talks, you sleep in the last row, nothing like that. So this is going, I want this program to be, highly interactive. So he is your senior. Like you do not address him like sir, you can call him Bhaiya, right? He is your Bhaiya, and you can ask whatever the stupid question you feel like asking. You can, get to know more about Kartheek. and his journey, his experience, his success story. Keep it more interactive and lively. And I request the same to Karthik also. Keep it totally informal so that the students get the connect and let them have some good time with you. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us despite being Sunday. And thank principal sir and other HODs who are here to witness the session. I welcome all the staff and everyone for this senior talks second edition. Thank you. Request principal to render the formal welcome address with the guest introduction.
Thank you, Arun sir. Good morning, all. Respected dignitaries on the panel, our management representative Arun Kumar, Trustee Patel sir, Chief Accounts Manager Gajendra sir, and today's speaker and our proud alumni, Sri Kartheek Yadiki, and heads of the department, Founder Secretary of Alumni, Mr. Girish, Present Secretary, Dr. Hari Krishna, faculties and alumni, Gautam, Naren, and my dear students. I welcome you all for this session, wonderful session, Senior Talks.
And also, you can welcome a few family members of Karthik are also online.
Oh, okay. I welcome on behalf of Sairam family, the family of Kartheek Yadiki.
A few friends, friends of mine who are also interested in the session.
Okay, very nice. Very nice to hear. And today we have organized this session on the topic ERPs and journey of SAP. What is in for future? And this particular program, it is live from Frankfurt, Germany. In this occasion, I am proud to introduce our alumni and speaker of today's program to all the gathering. Kartheek Yadiki is currently is managing consultant, NCS Netcare GmbH. He is a Sairam alumnus, BE Mechanical, passed out from 2004. He placed through campus interview in Auto IFB as a shop floor engineer in the year 2004. Later, took up some SAP certification and moved to consulting profession. For 11 years, he worked with Accenture India and Accenture Germany as SI and AO projects for pharmaceuticals. In April 2017, he started a new journey with the NCS Netcare GmbH as a senior consultant. His role involves leading and delivering SI projects. Karthik, in last 16 years, has got expertise on production components, concepts like 5WNH, 3C, 5S, PPM, Six Sigma, and people management. Several SAP skills like ECM, PP, PI, QM, LE, WM. Only I think Karthik is going to explain all these things, HEM and other SCM modules, and also project management. So this is about Kartheek Yadiki, our proud alumni. On behalf of Sairam family, I wholeheartedly welcome Karthik to this webinar. This session will be very useful and beneficial to all of you, my dear students. Kindly participate actively and make use of it effectively. Happy digital learning. Stay at home. Stay safe. Break the chain. Thank you. Now I request Mr. Karthik to take over the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Arun, for the very nice words. Those 10 minutes are my cloud 9 position. So let me start sharing my screen too. So while there was a very big introduction of myself with all the best words and few good words being poured on myself, I would like to start saying, in this digital age where you want to find any session, everyone would go into Google or, hey, what is this topic? Oh, this one. I will go into internet and Google it and then find it out. And hey, this session is not interested, but I have all the information. So this is something that would probably happen with several. But despite of all that, you always get into a friend or a senior, a brother, even a parent, ask their experience through, and this makes a lot of difference. And I believe this is the one of the main reasons that you have joined here. So I would like to start saying that this is not a session where I want to train on ERP, SAP skills and so on, but take you along in a nostalgic journey of mine for the last years, starting with SSCC or SSCE now. So keeping that as the objective, I have made this session little interactive. Still, I will touch something about ERP and SAP, what they are, basically how I started this journey and where I was, how I moved and so on. So it will be a journey and a casual talk through. We will go on with it. So yeah, while that's being said about myself, you see my registration ID also, 1S Bhumi 36. So that's my registration number in case someone wants to find it out. I have the first.
It's wrong. Like it's 1SB00ME.
Yeah, that's the slides text. Numericals are always shown like that.
Okay.
It's 00ME.
It's 1SB00ME036.
Yes, it is a number. Yeah, I remember. So how we will go through this journey. Finally, I'm an engineer. Firstly, job experiences, my research in ERP and SAP, and then the SAP and its evolution. So we'll spend 5 minutes on the SAP part, but still I would be happy to extend it if someone has a question, and I will take you through the slides which I have prepared as a backup. Then I will tell you something about the challenges and opportunities in Germany. Then we will close it with the takeaways. So having that said, Reggie, can you post the first question to the friends? So just answer this question with your first thought. What comes to your mind? So I'll close this chat. While that's being answered, I will start with my journey of how I was being in through the experience of college room. Yeah. I don't know why I see this pop-up of admit all. 1 second. Yeah, good. So, as you know, some of you know at least that we had our college campus not in Anekal. The first 4 years we had it in, or 5 years we had it in Bedrally, in a different location in Bangalore. So we started there. Before starting with the campus itself, I've been joined the college through a management quota. Gajendra sir was there. I came with my dad. I remember the discussions there, how it was. The rank of CET and so on was actually quite good to get into a normal quota. However, my dad was anxious that I might not get any seat. So we ran through Shirdi Sai in Jayanagar and then got the placement through. Then we went to the campus and then we saw it fine. It was okay. Then we moved after 2 years to the main campus. So that's one picture of in front of the canteen. These are my 3 friends. I took the picture, so I'm not there. Then we had a 6th sem project, which I remember. It was an ANSYS again. This project contained something about the stress and strain of a turbine, which is being simulated in ANSYS. So this was the part, and no one believed that we made this project. So it's actually true that we did not make this project. We were involved so much in experiencing the ANSYS and CFD, and there was a big code written here, and it was helped through the expert in the company. So there was a sense of a session happened in the college, and I took the advantage of this session. And then the four guys in the picture that you see, we went there and started this project. We also took a very good experience from ANSYS. I really got trained there and I understood the software concept a little bit there. And then a few words about 8SEM project. So again, in this picture, I'm also not there. So this is about, we did this project in HAL. It was a drill joystick controlling. In the meantime, we have the summary. So the question was, why are you pursuing engineering? So 65% of them choose the option as use engineering skills and change life for better. Wow. That's really a very, very motivated crowd, I would say. To apply for a job and start a living is 31%. Parents want me to do it, 5%.
Reggie sir, you can share the poll results to the audience as well.
Aha, good. I think Reggie, you can do this. I don't want to mess it up. So
I think everyone
just
can see
need
this.
Sorry?
Everyone can see this. I shared
cool.
with everybody.
Cool. So this means that this the crowd is really motivated crowd. That's what I can definitely say. If I were you, I would have been choosing the first one, to apply for a job and start a living. I had no special things here, but thanks for the answers. That actually gives me a very good expectation what to do. Continuing with my journey in the college, 8SEM project, and then we had something on the first time interviews and placements in the college. We never heard that it would happen in the college, but it was working really, really lucky for us. So, and we thought that it's only our 7 or 8 guys who are going from college, from mechanical department to the industry. But then there we saw 2 other college students also joining to take place in the same interview. Then there were about 25 people or 30 people in total, all above 69 or 70% with an aggregate, all FCDs or FCs for sure. No one should have any backlog or one fail of subject and so on. So we all were nervous. Then I asked keenly to the person, sir, how many positions are there? He said 2, but we don't have a limit. If everyone fits, we will take everyone. That's what they said. I was really little amazed, but it was the fact that it is only 2 people places and we were 30 people. The interview went well. The way I cracked, I remember our lecturer from project management, he went to Australia. This lecturer gave me the call after the interview saying that, Kartheek, you have a likely chance that you can get placed. What I would definitely share in the experience from this interview, the interview was containing 3 rounds. The first round with an general aptitude test, and then the second one was with a personal round with 3 colleagues, I would say 3 bosses, operational head, quality head, and maintenance head, engineering head. So these were 3 or 4 heads of the companies with whom I was having the interview. The way I think it cracked was the words I used to explain my 6th SEM and 8th SEM project. I was really clear what I'm talking about. Very, very clear about that. So for example, I really remember this specific case. In the 8th SEM project, we made joystick for the cockpit in the jet. So for this, we had to make a drill jig to hold the tool and then perform the drilling. This was the objective. So we made a thing like this. And here we were doing the complete design based on the engineering we have, meaning strength of material, blah, blah, and so on. Additionally, we had to do something on the size. So this was the key 2 constraints to design this. So we designed it. Then when we were talking about the the tolerance zone. So I was using the 10E7, for example. Mechanical students in third and fourth year can definitely understand what I mean. So we have tolerance, which is 10E7. Then the operations head asked me, hey, what is 10E7? And I was so happy that he asked this question, and I explained him clearly piece by piece. This is E refers to the tolerance zone, 7 refers to the accuracy, blah, blah, and so on. I was so precise in this, and probably this was one reason I cracked the interview. The point to take away is that whatever you do and whatever you prepare for the interview, be precise and be to the depth of what you are speaking. So you might be speaking only few words, but that few words, you should be precise in what we're talking. Then it's clear. It's clear that everyone knows, does not know everything. Yeah, it's obvious. Having that said, I need to be a little fast. So then I have another important picture. This was with the.
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
One sec. Good. Yeah. So this, do you have a second poll? Continue with that poll in the meantime. So we had this done. This picture is during the last day of the convocation. I took only with 5-6 friends of mine, and the big picture I asked Girish if he had, but he didn't. So I placed this one. This was one of the beautiful memory. Then the last picture is something with the alumni. So even after the college is over, it doesn't mean that the connection is over. So the connection continued with the friends and with the college especially. So that was really one of the treasure for me to always be connected. So that was it with the first one. Then I would like to go into the job experiences. Yeah. I think we will take a minute to get the summary. In the meantime, I will go on with my experiences. So the best part are the first job, all the things were learning. So there was no anything else expected from my side. So as you probably saw the poll, the main things were how what you're expecting. Do we already have a summary, sir? Reggie? Cool. So it's interesting answers. So even if let's pay a lot of learning, 64. So that's really the motivated crowd here. And the big pay and super life, the dreaming crowd, 29%. Any job will do, 6%. I don't need a job, super, 1%. So most of the categories are, as I expected, are filled. And for me was any job will do, the 6% case. So I was looking for any job because I literally went for interviews on the call centers, speaking to any option that I have. So we had friends preparing 4 CVs, all the 4 copy paste with all the things, just the percentage and names are changed. And then we attended the interviews for call centers. That was really a tragic memory. I remember the way how I was presenting myself, and I realized that how bad I was prepared for the interview. Then this was the second interview I had. So there is no good or bad answer for all of you. It's all everyone's personal situation. Someone needs just a degree. Someone needs business to run. Someone has an entrepreneur idea. Someone wants to make a living. Someone has a financial constraint. So we are all people around. There are all mix of people possible. So no answer is a correct answer. It's everyone's personal answer is the right answer. Then moving on, production concepts. So what I learned is the few words which also our honorable principal said, the Kaizen, 5S, 3C, few words about these concepts. Yeah. So Kaizen means change good. You always change good for better. That's the meaning of Kaizen. It's a Japanese word. 5S is a standardization approach of Japanese again. Seiri, Seiton, Seisu, Shiketsu, and Shitsuke. These are the 5 words of 5S, which actually tries to organize your life. So you have so many things in the place. Then these 5 letters are telling you how you should sort out the things and keep the waste out, and then proceed with the work. So that's an concept of 5S. 3C. So everything has a place and everything is in its place. So a place for everything and everything in its place. That's the concept of 3C, and it's a dedicated approach of getting standardized in your life. TPM, this is a total productivity management, and this is really something about machine improvement, waste elimination, and so on. Six Sigma, several of you already have been experienced this word. This is about poke-yoke, to reduce any defects in your process. So 3.4 parts per million defects are acceptable. That's the way Six Sigma works. Pareto is another interesting life learning scenario for me. Most of the problems that we face are always because of the 20% of reasons. So 80-20 is the word here. Everything that you take, you are having problems and so on. When you write down all the probable problems you have, when you do that, you will find out that 20% of the problems are the main reasons for your worry. So that's an analysis of Pareto, and this analysis really works in life for me. Then process. So process is something, when I went to the company, I had no clue how to even operate an Xerox machine, believe me. So when I went there, I was looking at so many departments. What we got into is a shop floor engineer. So the picture that you see is in maintenance department though. So the job was to work as a shop floor engineer, as in shifts. So we were going there in the morning 5:30, and then the shift actually ends at 2 o'clock, 6 to 2 o'clock. But then you end up staying there like 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. So around 12 hours of work continuously in the shop floor. And most often we used to work in the Saturdays too. And it is a night shift, then it's from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and most probably there will be an overtime, so the operators will be working. We were about 50 or 55 engineers. I had, we going from engineering college, I mean, you have an experience of SOM, BOM, TOM, machine, M3, and so on. But how the process works in a machine, how the drilling machine works, why the materials are coming like this, why is it dirty, why the people are not working correctly, you don't know all this, right? So engineering teaches you something, but there is a lot that will be taught when you start your work. People will be taught for sure, because everyone is not behaving the same that you expect. It's not a book that you can learn to understand a person. So it's the people. The more interactions you make, the more talks you do, you will see the people behavior. So the people understanding is the best part. So process specifically, here I was in production as a shift in charge. So we had about 10 belt producing lines. The company was producing a safety seat belt system. So most of the cars that you sit have the safety seat belts, and these safety seat belts were produced 70% from Autoliv IFP. So this is the company I was in. It's quite safety standards, and there are compliances that have to be followed for producing. It's not a product which is use and throw kind of thing, but it's a safety measure, life-saving thing, and so on. So we were producing airbags and so on. So my job was to ensure that the production is met, targets, and then we have the quality too. So these are the two targets basically I had. And there were about 200 operators, and there were 2 shift in charges to maintain this complete crowd in one shift. The process is, especially I had challenges to understand the people than the process. So you will find that the material is there. You know how the machine works. You press this button, then the machine performs the operation. But what is always not known is where does the material come from? Where is the material being sub-assembled in the earlier operation? What is that guy doing? Is he on leave? Is he not working? How are they being pumped up? So all these things is interesting. So if a material is already there, so we have, I don't know, about 250 or 300 models of belts safety seatbelt belts in the production operation. And I was wondering how this design is being done. So which department works on design, which department works on testing, which department is a lab. So there are so many processes that I got introduced with this company, and I was very, very enthusiastic to understand every domain. What is the responsibility of engineering department? What is the responsibility of quality, stores, logistics, warehouse, lab, maintenance. So it was really a small company, but very, very, very good experience to learn from. Like I said, other departments and their work. So what is each one doing? What is their responsibilities? What is an SLA? The terms, the words that they use, and the work style of each person. That's the interesting part too. Targets and stress. No wonder the targets were definitely there, and the stress was definitely there too. There were times which I cannot really tell, where I was really upset and getting into a kind of depression mode. But I never let the depression come over me, and I was always sure that I have to take the best out of the situation. Teamwork. So this was definitely another learner for me with the teamwork. I mean, in the college we had teamwork, so friends do understand it, and we know each one's strength, and we do equally share the work, whether it is a college bunk or whether it is a strike, even it is a project, when it is something to speak to the teacher or principal or HOD, we had a teamwork going on. It was completely there. But in the company, when you go into a corporate world, even automobile industry, the teamwork that you will see is little different style. So there are politics going on in behind. Some are showing as a teamwork, but it is not really a teamwork. And some are really politely and honestly coming through to present the work. So that was a really nice experience, how people join and how they represent as if they joined. So problems and solution. And every time I was going through the process, I often had the problem and I was always looking for a solution. So that's what Kaizen mean to. And this pressure was helping me to always identify a solution for every problem that I find, which means I find a problem in moving the material from the stores to here. So I was trying to find out a solution, which can be the better way. What time does it work? Is there a different tool that can be done? Can it be a different rack? Can it be a slight rack, like a slanted rack instead of a straight one, which takes a lot of effort. So just by doing a slant, the materials are first in and first out. So the guy is here and he's taking out the material, and the guy is loading the rack from here. So just simple ideas like this were changing lives like a lot. Then I had thoughts of my new journey, because I somehow felt that I'm doing good. But there was one special experience I remember. We were in the production department and there was a dispatch department, which means they are doing the packaging and then delivering the goods, the belts to the automobile companies. While this is happening, I was wondering that the packaging guy used to come to me and ask, "Sir, when will be the stock ready? I'm waiting. I have to go home. I'm already doing 2 hours OT overtime." Then I was trying to find out what can be a solution here, and I was coming up with an idea of Access, Microsoft Access and Excel files, that there is a central file which is in the production department, which is maintained, and the guys in the dispatch department see it, what is the probable time that they can expect a next workload for them. So with this idea, my immediate boss was impressed, and he told me, "Kartheek, very nice idea. Similar ideas are there in ERP." He said, just the word ERP, and that's it, was changing my life. So having that said, with my lot of words about my first job experiences, I would like to go into ERP. At this moment, I would like to take a short pause, ask if anyone has a question on video. Keep the question short, very short, so that we can go on with the thing. Someone has a question? Students on
like
video?
someone has raised hands. I'll unmute him. We don't have a proper display name, but still, please introduce yourself and ask questions. Yeah, who's that? Hello. Okay.
It is Abhishek from third year CSE, sir.
So okay, ask him to go ahead.
Abhishek,
Yes, Abhishek, I'm not yet hearing anything.
Abhishek, please ask.
Okay, right. We'll proceed, Kartheek. Like, we'll give you a chance.
Okay, doctor. So my research on ERP. So the only word I heard from him was ERP. At that point of time, our production department was not using any software as such to record our goods. All we had was just an Excel file in the morning, just a small paper which contains how many products should be produced in which line and which model and so on. So this was only the target that we used to receive in a single paper. And then we used to run around and ensure material is there, people are there, and so on. So the 3 M's, right? Then starting with ERP, enterprise. So what is an enterprise? So most of you can assume what an enterprise is, but some of you might not assume that these are also can be an enterprise. A hotel can be an enterprise because there is a process that you see when you imagine in most of the hotels, which is not darshani. For example, like the fast food centers, you go in, you make an order. The guy has usually a tablet nowadays. They have an electronic device which contains the things to be inserted and is a demand. And the chef, the cooking section gets these orders, what to be prepared. And then there is a forecast which runs in the background, how much variety of foods are being ordered in general, and then what happens, what should be procured. So there is a lot of chain happening even in a hotel. So hotel is an enterprise too. Fuel station, also an enterprise. Educational institutions, healthcare, manufacturing sectors, in banking, supermarket, retail. Every word that I have mentioned here are an enterprise, and you cannot imagine even a poultry farm, which eggs that you get from is also an enterprise. And we had also challenges to implement an ERP for a poultry farm. That's a very, very very challenging experience to understand what is the product. It's clear the chicken are the product and the eggs are the products, but what is the material that you are putting in, what is a bomb, and so on. So it's really fascinating experience to understand how a poultry farm get an ERP and what is the model here. You will see that experience when you start your journey too. What departments or team exist in a typical enterprise? So I was explaining you earlier that we have purchasing, which is procuring the goods. This is a typical enterprise which contains with goods. We're talking about goods. Yeah, it's not about educational institution as such. So sales, production, quality, finance, accounting department, HR, who has to give you a payroll, for example, logistics department, who maintains the goods and stores them, and so on. Maintenance department, if you have machines, they have to be calibrated and ensure that they're working, and so on. So there are quality standards to be maintained. IT department, if you have an IT, even a service in the office, even for from a desk phone, for example. So there is some IT department in the background always needs to support. So there are several departments basically. What I forgot to mention, the RP. So E, we mentioned enterprise. What is R and P? R stands for resource and P stands for planning. So enterprise resource planning is the meaning. So resource meaning the 3 things: man, machine, material. So if you have anything that you do, any of the enterprise, any of the things, you want to ensure that all the 3 resources, man meaning humans or the persons working, and machine meaning even a table is a machine for that way, tools, and material. So if you have goods, how to ensure the best of all the 3 is planning. So that's what ERP stands for. You basically want to run your enterprise using the best of all the 3 resources available in your company. That's an ERP. And as the name already explains, you see why a ERP is needed. So usually it is done for optimizing the resource utilization, and exchange of information between the departments. So production does something, and how does the quality being informed when the production is done? How does the finance get involved? So the information between these departments, how these keep flowing, this will be a process harmonization when you make an ERP. By doing such a ERP, you are making the people to work in a systematical way. That's why the ERP is a process harmonization project. And efficient data collection. So often we get into data. You have, for legal reasons, also to collect the data. For example, there is a food chain which is producing goods. It's obvious that they have to maintain some record of data, what they produced, when, what was consumed, and so on. So due to these legal constraints, you often get into audit requirements that you have an electronic record of data. And this is possible with computers. So you need an ERP which is capturing this data but not writing it in a logbook right now, in this current modern generation. So having that said, that's here in slide 5. Good. So that was my first research on the ERP. Then what I did, okay, that's an ERP, understood. Now I was looking at who is developing an ERP. So this is a small slide to just explain what are the products. So ERP is something. There is HCM. These are the products. Yeah. So by vendor. From ERP, HCM, there are several products that you can see. And this one on the right, a pie chart that you see, are the vendors who work on ERP. So there was SAP, who was a leader then with 20% market share. So all the global Fortune companies, or whatever you call, were using SAP as their ERP. And there are several products that a company will use. For example, to do your testing in the lab, you don't need an ERP, you need a specific software again there. So I'm talking specifically about an enterprise resource planning, not for a specific tool that you need in a specific department. Yeah. So that's the ERP I was looking for. Then I realized that SAP was the case. And then I also ended up to understand, okay, my company, which was Autoliv IFB then, was working on automobile sector, because we were supplying safety seatbelt systems to the automobile industries, which were Maruti, Toyota, all over the world, and then also Mercedes-Benz. We were sending all over with exports and also domestic. Then I was wondering, okay, what about the other industries? So which kind of other industries are using ERP? Then I came out with this list. So this is a latest list, but then at that point of time, with the internet available, I was able to search through to understand which kind of industries would use SAP. Of course, this is now the current list. This is after 15 years, but the list I'm talking about is quite old, which were about 5 or 6 industries. So the healthcare mainly was using, automobile industry was using, and banking sector was a little bit using. So these are the main sectors which were using SAP. So so that was one analysis. And having that said, I started to understand. So now let's do some interaction again, looking back at the inventions. So the computer was invented in 1800s late by Charles Babbage. Then we had internet being invented in 1983. So if you look at the way we are now, just a short question, for example, is there anyone in this crowd who does not has a smartphone? Probably not. I don't imagine that there is someone like that. But 20 years back, if you look at, would there be someone who has a smartphone 20 years back? Also probably not. So, which I mean to say that there is so much industrialization happening in the recent decades, which did not happen 40 years before. And it's such a growth because of internet, because of information and availability of information all over the place. So this internet invention, which was in 1990, then the zoom of jobs happened all over the world. So it's really a boom to the economy of all world, the complete world, which led everyone to utilize the best. And then I wondered, okay, if it was 1990, the internet was there, and then people started making tools and so on. So all these my investigations were in 2004, 2005 and 6 basically. I worked in the Autoliv company for 2 years, and then I took this thing. So legacy tools. You can imagine if there is someone wants to answer as a question, as a chat answer, you can do that. What would be the case before internet? So what were the tools used before the internet to run their software? The answer would be legacy tools. So everyone were making their own tools to code and make their standalone apps and programs. So right now everyone know what an app is, but then 25 years ago, what would be the meaning of an app to even an engineer, right? So forget about electronics and computer engineer, but other categories, if you look at, so what is an app? What does it mean? So that's what it would sound like, right? But the legacy tools, if you can look at, so that's the picture of the list of applications or languages which have been used and starting since 1940s and so on, or even before 1800s. So everyone made their own apps locally and then tried to survive and make the process run. But then with internet, the things evolved, and then I looked at all the surveys. I made the understanding, okay, what fits better. And for example, research market analysis. So I understood this market. Okay, here is a demand. Here is something I like. I see that I have the skills here, which is like, okay, I have a skill to look at the problem and look at the process and suggest which is the best way to solve the problem. This is what I also learned about. And then I also had the investment and time and money. So this is an important factor, which I also did while I saw that, okay, this is a software. My brother told me that, Kartheek, why don't you take Siebel SRM? This is also a good product, booming product. But I looked at I took his suggestion definitely, but I then looked at what are the other products available. There was PeopleSoft, there was JD Edwards, there were so many softwares available in the market which were called as ERP. But then I looked at the market, meaning which has demand, which has the potential to lead the world or take it forward as a leader. That was one thing. Then I looked at the cost of my investment. So the course was costing 2.5 lakhs for 25 days. So everyone would laugh when someone says that I would like to make join the course for 25 days and it will cost 2.5 lakh. What? My dad was really laughing at me. What, you want 2.5 lakh? You will study for 2 years or what? Then I said, no, it's only for 25 days. And he really laughed at me and he said, come on, really? Then because he know the pain I was going through in the company, and he somehow was really really support you. And then he gave the money to me. I was having just 50,000 rupees in my bank balance from the 1.5 year job saving. I had no habits, just fuel and then sometimes a cool drink. That's all the habits I had. So I was able to save a little bit of money, and then the big chunk of money I got from my dad. And then I used this money and did to do the certification basically. But then I was looking at every software. How much does it cost? How much time I should invest? How much time I should take a break? And the risk of waiting for the job again. So no one is going to offer a job. After I had to do the thing, I was trying to understand how much demand is there in the market to get a job on that skill. Then I was looking, of course, to all the friends and seniors. Hey, what is the best option here in the company where I was working, Autoliv IFB itself, the seniors of mine and the seniors in college, the friends for sure, in my family member. So I was looking for information everywhere on the internet and so on, and also on the job sites. I was looking into the job sites to understand the skill that I do not have now, and if I have, how much demand is there for this skill in the future. So that was the intention to look at, and searching this, I found that SAP is the right thing for me, and I chose SAP as my career track. So I went to Ahmedabad. Here was a training institute available, just because there was one friend of my brother. I went there and did the course, and there was no placement as such there. So I just came back from Ahmedabad after the 2000, so it should be 2006 December, came back, and then, 2005, and 2006 Feb, I got the job in Accenture. So it was 1 month of waiting. In this 1 month, I did not keep quiet. I always went to every institute, even teaching SAP. They said, we will give you 4,000 rupees a month. I said, I have done the course for 2.5 lakh in 25 days, and you're offering me a job of 4,000 rupees. I was laughing to myself, but then that's the situation, right? So everything does not come so easy. So then no job for 1 month, but still I was fortunate that a referral and so on the internet, and the interview was cracked. The interview was also a cakewalk for me, because I did not prepare anything special for the interview. I told them, honestly, I have only a certification of SAP. I don't have an experience of implementing an SAP. And then I said, I have worked in the company Autoliv IFB, and I worked in the college here. I studied in the college here. This is my degree. This is what I have. Then the questions were clearly about the job. In the last 2 years, what did you do? Job. What was this job? What does the company do? How many production lines are there? What is the product? It was just so straightforward. It was a technical interview, but it was like a casual conversation for me, because I was so involved in those 2 years, and everything was on my fingertips. I knew what I was doing. So they were asking me, how many production lines are there? Yeah, there are this many production lines. What was the machine that you used for this process? Okay, that was the buckle welding machine, induction welding machine. So it was on my fingertips to answer what I was knowing. So it was a cakewalk for the interview to Accenture as such. But then package, you will be definitely surprised. The package that I was received was 2 lakhs per annum. So that was the first package I received for Accenture to join. Then I was really depressed, and told to my brother, brother, what I have done for 1.5 month a course for 2.5 lakh, and then the company is offering 2 lakhs per year. How is it? He said, Kartheek, all you need is a break. So start it, take the journey, do not wait for money. You're starting a journey, so start. That's it. So those were the words I still remember from my brother, and I just started, signed the offer letter, and then started the journey. And then things changed a lot. At this point of time, what I would definitely tell you is the experience with Accenture was also very, very awesome. It's a consulting firm, but the most important part of my journey was with Autoliv, the mechanical industry. Here was a small company with some processes available, but there was a lot of scope to learn from everything, every day, challenges, the stress, how to manage people, how to manage your own work, how to work on targets, how to ensure to get your work done, despite you have a team member who doesn't like you, for example. So there were so many challenges that I worked, and these were the key, what do I say? So key learnings for me than the things that I learned in the company in IT. So at IT, when someone asked me, hey, too much pressure, huh? I said, come on, chill. This is not at all a pressure. So that was my feeling when I was looking at the word called pressure in the IT industry. Early then, not now. Yeah? Early then. So at this point of time, I would like to have a pause and ask if a student has a video question. Reggie, anyone raising a hand for a video question?
As of now, nobody there.
Let's ask for someone. Yeah. Students who have been listening to me, someone wants to have a question? We're already at 8 o'clock. Okay. Is someone there asking, waiting for a question? No?
No.
No. Okay. Then let's go on. Now I would like to take few words about SAP. So some of the participants in the crowd is also interested to understand what SAP is. So here it will be little bit technical information about SAP itself. So an application always have a three components. You have a database, you have an application, and you have presentation layer. So these are the three layers that are available. And SAP started in 1972 in Germany. It was with 5 employees of IBM. The vision was to create one application which contains all the three layers in the same tier. So they started with this thing. SAP stands for Systems Application Products, and often it's called as SAP. So that's how it is called as. When you look at the evolution of SAP, then I also did this investigation then. So R1 stands for tier 1. So in one layer, all the three components that we just saw are present. So that's a real-time data processing. It was mainly for finance. Then R2, so to improve the processing, they separated the presentation layer from the other two, and they combined this in the 2-tier layer to perform the processes. So the process meaning information between the departments, updating the invoices for the day or per each order. So all these processes that a company needs is done on a system, and you need an ERP something for it. Then in 1990s was with the internet, especially this R3 was coming in, which was SAP's invention. However, at that point of time, the internet was evolving. Still, it was not available with SAP. So there were standalone SAP tools. So R3 stands for the tier 3, which contains all the three components in different layers. So this was improving the performance, and there is a chance of integrating all the commands basically between the presentation server and the application server with the users, and that helps it. And in 1999 was MySAP, which was with the evolution of internet. So this was a tool. SAP or any ERP for that, any vendor for that matter, has different products. So one is a product for your lab, one is a product for your production, one is a product for your customer relationship management, supplier relationship management, your planning your logistics. So they have products for every area. MySAP was one product which is combination of all the things. And in 2005, when I was certified, I was working on MySAP. So that was 1 month of certification, and then I moved on with things. And in the projects when I worked, it was either it is R3 or MySAP and NetWeaver and so on. So then the journey was continued. The remaining are the next evolutions. Currently, it's S4 HANA. SAP for high performance analytical appliance. It's a technical way of how to look at data and fetch the data from. So those was too technical, although. So ground talks, if I try to explain what the work for a professional, which is an engineer, mean. So to understand it in a, like a banana, let's open it and then explain it clearly. There are two kinds of modules. There is one functional and one is technical. Technical means ABAP. SAP is basically a configured product. It's not a plug-in and play like your mobile charger, but it's an application which you need to do some configurations, and you need to have a data server, and you need to have the software being configured. So you have some technical, which is basis, meaning there is a person who says that, okay, how many users are going to use, which is the login ID, password, and so on, in a layman language. And then there is something on ABAP, meaning coding, to say ABAP, Advanced Business Application Programming. That's what it stands for. Then there is PI. For example, your system needs to connect to another system in which is not an SAP or which is an SAP. Then you need usually a PI. Then the important part is functional. So functional meaning me as a mechanical engineer, I was able to look at the process and then say to any other industry I go, I was looking at their processes and then recommending them the solution from SAP. So knowing what SAP is capable of, I was telling them, okay, that's how the process is. That's how the data should be. I was configuring the SAP system for them to work for their processes. Either they had to change or we need to change something in the SAP to meet the dots. Yeah. So functionally, for example, a chartered accountant can be a consultant for SAP to explain them that if you, for example, a chartered accountant goes to a company which wants to implement SAP, yeah, and then he realizes that the process that are working in this company are not to the standard how SAP works. So he recommends that you have to change the process like this so that it works. For example, you generate an invoice after the goods are being sent out. So that's how you should work. So he will tell that, please do it like this. And chartered accountant, for example, will be having exposure to GL accounts, profit and loss, and so on. So every functional domain person would have a chance to play a role in functional. And some, for example, me as production, I was mainly playing the role in PP as a production consultant. And there are HR, so working several years of HR in human resources in the payroll area, for example, they get how it works, and then they can be a HR consultant. For sure, they need to know what SAP HR is first. Yeah. So these are the two basic modules that one would say, I'm a technical guy, I'm a functional guy, I'm a techno-functional guy. That also is a term which often happens. The other section is the tasks during the project. So here we have processes. The functionally, we need to identify the process, how the process works, identify the gaps, do the design, configure and test and implement, which means that from the day you implement, they will start using your software, which means SAP. Technical department, the ABAP or the basis and so on. So they have their planned work to do. When you want to implement SAP, they need to ensure the data server, where do they place their data servers and stuff like this. And if there are any gaps, they need to change the code to ensure that it is compatible to the user requirements. And of course, they do test with the gaps. So those were the few words for SAP. Is someone interested for more information on SAP? Does someone has a question about SAP to know more? I know some of the alumni members have joined, so I can go into some of the slides if you want.
Yeah, actually, there is a question not related to SAP. There is one student by name Maruti just asked, I always compare where I am in my career now and where my classmates or colleagues are there in their career. How important is that comparison? Is it right to compare that way? What's your view on that? Probably he should be an alumni.
Yeah, very good question, I would say. Very, very good question. I will go on with the next slide. I will take this point definitely in the next thing. It's a really prepared question for me. I will take this one later. Martha, I will come back to you. The next part in that case is the challenges faced by the industry sector. So these are few points I have gathered. So in the pharmaceuticals, here we have cost and market demand. So every industry has its situation, especially with COVID-19. Now it's every industry is in a huge pressure of reducing costs and how to ensure the employees are still working, they get their salaries. But in general, the cost is always a pressure for every company. And the market demand and supply chain, and these are always a competition or a challenges faced. Then serialization of goods. I'm sure not many of you know what is serialization, but you definitely know what a serial is. For example, you have your mobile, there is a serial number on it, and that's a serial number. When you go to a supermarket, you buy a food product, or you go to a drogery, meaning pharmacy, and buy a medicine, you have a batch on it. So a batch is something that identifies a group of products, and serial is something which uniquely identifies one product. So that's a serial and that's a batch. Serialization is something to identify every piece of a batch. So if you imagine your box of paracetamol tablets, if one blister, there's this one aluminum foil which contains the tablets, has to be identified, because this is saleable in the shop. Actually, they will even cut. But in Germany, we don't get a box, a one blister as a tablet, or they don't cut the tablet. They just give the box completely. And it's not allowed to break the box in the pharmacy. They just give the complete box. In this process, the box is a saleable unit. It's not the each tablet. So the box need to have one identification which can be tracked, traced, and captured, that this product has been consumed, or this product is in this country, this product is been given to this customer, and so on. So serialization is a big challenge, which is already 6 years, and some products are going into this one because of the government norms. So also in India, some of the products have it. In Germany also it is there, and some countries, as we here are supplying to some of the countries, we do have this challenge of serialization, where we have to enable our applications to work on serialized products. So that's a big challenge. It's a too technical discussion. Automobile. So for automobile, just as a ground here, when we want to go in the car, like in India, you have an emission certificate, right? Here also we do have an emission certificate, but there is a small sticker that you get, which is placed onto the car in the front, which specifies the zone where you are allowed to go. So meaning there are some cities in Germany where you are not allowed to go because of your emission certificate. For example, my car cannot go into Stuttgart, which is a city. Here, the cars which are below the zone are not allowed to go. And that's the level of conditions that they are driving to go green. Yeah, that's the reason. And this makes the challenge for the companies to immediately replace the current models on the road, and also come up with new economic models, so that new market is there, like that. And to apply the country regulations. So this is a challenge for the automobile industry. It's not my piece of cake, but we have several other experts who can talk better on this part. But with my experience, this is my exposure. And the retail. So here there is go green always in Germany. So there is even a political party called Green, for example. The retail department, for example, the shampoo that we use, it contains some plastic things, right? If you can imagine, there are some plastic things, and these are not dissolvables. And there are restrictions that products which are not friendly with the environment should be banned or should be avoided. In such initiatives, there are so many challenges for the industries, the food, retail, to develop products in a green way. It's not about the invention, it's more about how the waste management is taken care to. So the directions are in several ways, and these challenges are driving. And in the next slide, I would like to talk few words about the opportunities in Germany. So all the challenges I just mentioned in the earlier slide have here the point. The next one is manufacturing and automobile sector. So here, the opportunities are definitely there, because Germany being the leader in manufacturing, and there are several companies here like Mercedes, Volkswagen. There are multiple automobile industries which are around in Germany, and do have lot of opportunities. Also, several trucks that are produced are in Germany. They're sent all over to the world. Brexit, because of Brexit, so some of you know that Britain is exiting from EU. So EU is the European Union, and British, the London country, is exiting from European Union. Due to this, there is a huge demand in the banking sector. So the banking sector has a quite demand. So any sector that we talk about always involves IT, security, maintenance, authorizations, and interfaces. And there are several technical terms which I am not the best guy to talk for. Maybe Gautam or Girish, for example, they have better exposure than me on the pure technical sector than me on a functional sector. Healthcare definitely is always a challenge, and it's also by the law. Here we get our salaries, and we are also obliged to a health insurance. So we must pay some percentage of our salary to get an insurance. So health insurance is must for everyone who is working. There is a choice where you can not, but that's a very, very random case. But despite this is always must. When you have a pressure of insurance, and you also have a service for when someone gets sick. For example, my daughter is sick. I go to the hospital. I don't pay a penny. I just use my card and then complete the process. So in this process, you see that all the mechanism is interlinked, and it is traced, and the approval is also it's not, there is no corruption possible, so to say. In the normal level, there can be some other, but the healthcare is one thing. Because of the government policies, it drives the economy in a different direction. And healthcare here in Germany, because of the insurance policies, this is also a booming thing. There is also a cost in the production, cost of goods pressure, but still it's a valid one. Yeah, going green, like I was referring in the earlier slide. The new dimension technologies, yeah, with going IT so much. There are Internet of Things, digital, cloud, process mapping, process things. So several technical topics which I'm not the best guy here, but still a lot of things are here also booming in Germany. Several more. A few words again for educations for masters. Compared to USA, Germany is quite economical in that way, and the education is quite free actually. Even for my kids going, they are eligible for any education until they want. So there is a minimum pay that they need to manage, for example their accommodation and so on. Apart from this, there is nothing to be paid. The next thing is the job seekers visa. What you have additionally is, if you have 1 or 2 years of experience or something like this, and then with that skill you think there is a demand in Germany, you can apply for a German job seekers visa and then come over here, stay in a PG, and then continue a job search. And when you have the job, you continue in your life with the job. So that's how it can be done. Then of course it's important thing is German language. So here things don't work so easy, or it works very difficult without the language. So I came here 8 years before with my journey of SAP. When I started with Accenture, I was always in Italy or Belgium with consulting projects, IT projects. And then I came back to India for a couple of years. Then in 2012, I came to Germany with my family. Then started with Accenture Germany basically. And then after 5 years, I moved to a German company. So in the last 8 years in Germany for me, 3 years or 4 years before I started to learn German. But now I do my meetings also in German most of the times. When it doesn't work, I jump to English. So German language is definitely needed to come here and to search for job. And there are several institutes in Bangalore or online which are available to learn German, and it's also quite frequently done. So having that said, questions so far related to opportunities or the earlier challenge? The next poll is there for you. Let's see. It's an interesting question. Also, Maruti, one of the audience, has asked the question. It's important about this question. So it's really, really necessary. I would like to see how many votes are done. And when it is at least 90%, we can go on. What is important for you? My friends and family should say I'm a success. My success should be recognized by all. I define myself and I don't care about others. So it's the first thought that you get to your mind. Don't think too much. Just submit the answer. About 40% voted. The remaining are still to be seeing the screen or they're still thinking. Hurry up, guys. I just wait for a minute. No problem. Or in case someone has a question, we can take a pause. Is someone having a question on video?
Yeah, one is asking like what all certification one should do while doing UG to become job ready.
While doing what? UG.
UG undergraduate program, BE.
Good point. So here my recommendation is in your specialization. It is the demand. The next slide will also try to answer in this direction. My recommendation is definitely to, depending on your discipline, mechanical, electronics, computer science, and so on. So it's not to have one certificate, but whatever you do, see whether that has a demand in the market. That's the first part. Second part, if you do it, understand it completely, and then having an additional certification definitely will provide value when you go to an interview. That's for sure. So for example, for me, I was adding ANSYS as my certificate, the CFD tool, and I was having CAD-CAM, for example. So these are the two tools I was having as an additional thing. Hope that answers. Any other questions, Arun, in the chat?
No.
No. Okay. So I think we have
One more question.
Sorry.
One more question.
From Vikram, Vikrant,
Yeah.
I want to do business, but I have one question: that I should do masters in Germany or India, or should I do job or experience?
That's a very, very, very valid question that definitely comes to everyone during doing the engineering. It's basically personal for everyone, because everyone is not in the same financial situation. Everyone is not having the liberty to go to masters. It's personal. So looking to your question, I believe that you have the liberty to take your masters either outside or in India. So I would say with you a guess that doing masters outside India is also not a bad idea, but then doing masters in India in a reputed institute will definitely be good. So
Yeah,
it's
to your point, I would like to say here, like if your master's is because he wanted to do business. So if his master is going to be in technical domain, like in the continuation of engineering, like ME, MTech, MS kind of thing, then it is welcome. Like you can immediately do your master's then before you get into your business. Otherwise, if you want to do MBA, masters in business administration or management related courses, then preferably you have to select a domain to to get an experience in your technical technical domain, and later gaining some experience, better to do masters. So straight away after finishing engineering, if you do an MBA, I don't think you will be totally you go touchless with your engineering concepts. So only you will pick up only with masters, and with some limited experience, if you go for MBA, then that is more advisable. If you are continuing in the technical journey, then no problem. So directly from B, you can go to MS. And as Kartheek said, it's up to your financial stability. Like if you can able to spend so much in getting a degree from abroad, definitely that counts. Even last session, if you had agreed, which Samir had spoken, most of the discussion was over this. And probably we will post that video in YouTube and share the link. You can have a look at it. So this particular question, we have a lot of answers in the previous session.
Possible.
You can get in touch with Mr. Hari Krishna.
Super. So to just read out the summary from the poll, my family and friends should say I am a success. It's 9%. My success should be recognized by all, 50%. I define myself and I don't care about others, 45%. So it's a divided group at least. And again, everyone has their perception. It's not a right answer or a wrong answer. It's their personal way. and we are people are different, and everyone has their opinion. Now the word success, I would like to decode this word. So if you ask yourself, no need to answer or write in the chat, if you ask yourself, who is defining the success for you? That's the first question. Are you defining the success, or is someone else saying the success for you? So that's the question you ask yourself, and then we go to the next slide. Good. Success and satisfaction. So I would definitely say it's the satisfaction, because success is, if it is defined by you, then you are always working towards the success. If it is decided by someone else, like your parent or your brother or your friend, it doesn't, you cannot impress him or her always. You might sometimes, but it's not always. So my takeaways or my suggestions as going through this journey of 15 years or 16 years, I remember one time some lessons from the third or fourth year. Arun, I remember this was in a session where there was a very senior, I think it was in third or fourth year, not very sure. The senior member on the panel just came to the crowd and said, can someone say loudly Bharat Mata ki Jai or Jai Hind? That's all. That's all was the word. Everyone were quiet. Believe me or not, for 30 seconds, 40 seconds, no one uttered a single word. I don't know why. Because I myself was having my blood was dwelling to say something, but I did not. After 40 seconds, there was someone who shouted, friend, and then said, Jai Hind. Then he said, very good. It was slow, but it was okay. After the session was over, I went to the senior member and said, sir, I really had the feeling, but it did not happen. He just said one word, it happens. Then I was analyzing myself, why I did not react. What was stopping me? Was it the scare? Did I feel that it was something too bad? My seniors think bad. My college principal will think bad. I was just looking at the negativity of coming out. And this is one important point that you all need to know. If there is an open forum to speak out, then let it go, either by chat or comment. It might be too personal if it is not. But if it is an valid question, you think, then speak out. You should not hold your horses. That's the meaning. Yeah. So that's a real personal lesson I learned from the third or fourth year. I do remember this even now. Yeah, the moment which was happening there. Arun, do you know which was this session?
I don't recollect.
Okay, fine. It was in the hall on the left side in the building. I remember where it is happened. Well, the first takeaway from my side is always challenge yourself. You don't need an opponent. So you don't need someone whom you want to fight with. You always need to challenge yourself. Did you do your best shot? For this, I would say a small chapter, a small lesson, which in my English in my hostel I had. It was in the second or third class, believe me. It's a small story where the person is coming for a job, and then he's going into a room, and the person is given a task of cleaning the room. That's it. He cleans the table, he cleans the floor, and then he sits quiet, and then he sees the corners. He sees the bottom of the desk. He sees the chair. He cleans everything that is possible. And then the employer comes in and he says, oh, you cleaned the bottle also. You cleaned this also. You cleaned that also. And then he just gives the job. All I want to say here is give your best shot in every possible thing. So give your heart. Try to work out the best you can. Even for the slides and the work I did not take it easy and just keep going in words and let's do it. I did one trial and I had one session with Reggie, Hari Krishna and Arunji. With this one session, I understood what you guys might be looking forward, because it's not a technical training. It's basically a session where you want to understand from a friend. So I reworked the slides. It took 1.5 days, but I love it because, and that's my example to say that everything that you do, give your heart, put your heart in it, and then give your best efforts, then it will come. Like Krishna says, Lord Krishna says, just work and things should come on the way. Next part is, if you're doing it and you still feel like Maruti was saying in the chat, you have to always do your self-analysis. When you think that you are at least underrated or underpaid and so on, you always need to look at your strengths and weakness first. So which are my strengths and weakness? Then you need to look at the interests and expertise. These both sometimes go in conflict. For example, you have a strength, but you are not expert. You are not. This is not a market trend, for example. So that's not really the best place to earn, no? And you need to understand what is the market demand. Then you do this analysis and see what is the best thing I could do. Maybe you need to learn something new because of the market demand, because your focus is also to earn. So you need to do this analysis and not to compare with others. It's about your own satisfaction. Are you happily living with what you are doing? And if you want to raise your bar, my proposal will be do your self-analysis on strengths and weaknesses. What is the market demand? Which is something that I could learn? What is my investment? And list your priorities. The important part is listing your own priorities, setting your goals. So some have a priority of family. You have a parent to take care. You have a big family to take care, meaning your brother, sons, or something like this, and old parents to take care. Some have the dream of career itself. Now I would like to be a free bird, try to explore and flourish all the possible challenges. And some would like to do service. So it's not about the pay, it's about the service they want to do. So write your, some could be even an entrepreneur. So they could be the Make in India, for example. They have these ideas and they would like to do it. They have financial stability. So you have to make your own priorities, look at your capacity on the finance, time, money, and then you can do it. So it's one-to-one person topic. It's not a single medicine for all diseases. It's not the case. It's you need to hold the umbrella for the right weather. No. Last but not least, it is important what you do than where you do it. So and sometimes it is the case that you need to go to out of India and then start your course. But then what is really the dream? Why are you going out of India, for example? Ask the question yourself. Because the market is not there in India? Yes, you have an answer. No, I just want to go there because I want to burn the cash. Or no, I want to just explore in front of the Eiffel Tower. Or I want to explore in front of the London Bridge. Fine. If you want to work on your dad's money, fine. Because I have several families which I have, at least on internet and personally have met through, who have challenges in money, but take all the pain to come all the way here, or even in USA, for example, or in UK, and then go back without a job or so on. So which is not a really healthy situation for the family or the parents who are taking this burden. So it's important that you analyze, take responsible, and be accountable that, okay, my decisions are not going to cause someone else. It's 20 years only that we have passed through the life. There is a lot more journey we can do. We can take risks, but we should not put others into risk. That's my personal proposal. And we have to take challenges. There are the education loans taken, and then it's an easy piece of thing for several things, and several students are able to flourish. They're able to earn back and send it back to India. Indian economy is booming. These are all positive cases, but there are also a few negative cases which are not taking the decision in the right way. Some are rich people, some are not. So do your own self-analysis and see where you stand, and then take the decision accordingly. I remember from the project management chapter in the engineering, Arun, you remember the teacher name who went to Australia? Panish? No.
Ashok Muthaiah.
Ashok Muthaiah, yes. So this gentleman was having one thing in the chapter. failing to plan is planning to fail. So always plan, and then you can work on it. If you don't even plan and you expect everything to work, not always going to happen. Agree, Arun?
Yeah, true. Ashok Muthaiah was your placement officer there.
Exactly. He was the one to call me after Atoli IFB interview and telling me what is going to happen.
Okay. And even I had some takeaways from him. He gives a lot of advices because he is an industry person.
Yeah.
What advice I had taken from him is like, whenever you come across a problem, you go with the solution to your boss. Don't go with your problem.
Exactly.
So if there is a problem, when you go and say the problem, go along with the solution. If you do not have a solution, at least give him some alternates, like what can be done, some suggestions. So don't blindly go and submit your problem to the boss or your seniors, which will never work. I still follow this.
Very valid point. Very valid point. So every time I do this approach with the problem, one of the things that you will see in some of the slides is the why approach. So every time you have a problem, you ask yourself why, so many times that you stop. You're not able to answer anymore. And for the final why, you try to answer how. That's the 5W1H. The 5 times you ask why, you most likely end up in finding the root cause of it. And then the 1H is how. Now I would like to attack how. So ask your question, put a paper, use a pen, and then write down these things. It will really come up with a self-solutioning consultant. You will become the solver of problems of your own. That's the important thing that you need to learn.
And we have few questions to take up. So yeah, we can quickly. And one question from Yashwant Kumar is opportunities for computer science students in Germany.
Much there. So what matters is in one of the slides I was referring, opportunities in Germany. Every sector has its own opportunity. Important thing is German. That's the first part. The second part that would be very much valid is the relevant experience. So if you want to do a master's here and then search for a job, that's really a healthy option. If you want to come in job seekers visa, meaning you have done a job in India and then come here with job seekers visa, that is also a valid option, but now it's not the right time. Definitely not the right time. In the next 1 year, I am also sure that it is not the best time to go around in search of jobs. And if someone has a chance of doing education, that's the best thing to do in the next years. Because of the current employed people are also losing jobs because of IT projects being closed, in innovation projects, because every company has its own reserves of fund. Whether I invest in fancy things or innovation things, or should I invest in running my own business? Right now, because of the situation, some industries or most of the industries are under tremendous pressure and the jobs are being lost. Also in Germany, fortunately, we are in a good situation here because of the local laws here. There is something called Kurzarbeit, which is a small work. Answer to your question is that if there is a chance, spend time in your master degree or MBA, for example. If there is a chance to work is my first preference. Learn during the work experience. It's always during my job also, I was always checking some guys who were going out of the company and then doing their MBA and then coming back to the same company. I asked, okay, how much hike did you get? Okay, this much. And you're in the same level, you're getting the same hike, and I'm still 2 years and I gained 2 years of experience. So you gained MBA and I gained 2 years of experience, which is more valuable. So you need to understand what kind of MBA are you doing, how much value is it adding to your life? Are you just adding the word MBA, or you are adding the skills that are learned during the during the course? So it's important to choose the right institute, right location, and right specialization, which will add value to your life as well as to your resume. Hope that answers.
Another question from Akash saying, like, you seem to be a fresher. Whenever I go for attending interviews for the vacancies, they say they prefer candidates with experience. How to handle this?
It's a challenging thing. I definitely agree. It often happens, and I also was one of the guy during this situation. With even with experience, for example, I had experience in SAP PP. I was applying for Robert Bosch after 4 years or 5 years in experience in Accenture. That time they said, Karthik, you don't have experience in this SAP module, which is the thing. That's how the market is. They always want with experience, even for freshers. It's ridiculous, but that's how people continue. So my personal recommendation to you is not just keep doing the research on search of jobs, but do something at home with the research on your own studies. Write a thesis or write a blog identifying a technology. Explore the things. When you go to the interview, do not just say that, what have you been doing for the last 2 months? I have been searching for a job. No, you have to go in an answer saying that in these 2 months, apart from searching for a job, I was investigating this theory. I was going in detail about latest technology on Internet of Things. I was investigating about cloud. And every interview that you go, you talk about that company too. So in your CV, every time you have, when you apply for the company, right? In the resume, you already have to frame your resume for every company. You should not have a standard format for every company. Make the company, make your CV specific to that company, so that the company's goals and your target would match. That's my proposal.
I think Suprita has a question, and I could not able to understand what she's really trying to convey. Suprita, I'll unmute you. You can just go ahead with your question and ask Karthik, sir. Suprita, you listening?
Karthik, no sir.
Karthik Bhaiya. Suprita, you there? Okay. So meantime, I have a question, Karthik. Like, I wanted to know, even me, principal, and few HODs are also interested. Like, wanted to introduce some foreign language learning program for our students. So we have some shortlisted language, like we have Japanese, German, French, and Chinese also to some extent. Like, which is the most recommended language the students can take up?
So looking at an Europe perspective, German and Spanish are the two languages which go well. So these are the two languages which often go well. Japanese and this I'm not quite aware. So Japanese is probably also well helping it, but I'm not quite sure. Because why do I analyze it as like this? Why do you need to have a language? Why do you need a language? It is because of offshoring mainly, or you want to go there and work. From this point of view, looking at the offshoring options and so on, Spanish is definitely helpful, is one option, and German also. So these are my two recommendations personally.
I think Suprita's question, what I could understand is like she is not able to, judge or conclude like what is her interest and how she is supposed to choose her career. Looks like she is a confused student. So,
which is her discipline, for example?
Supriya, which discipline you are from? You can just ping in the chat box.
You can also see the chat, isn't it?
Yeah. So she is from mechanical, sir. Mechanical.
Oh, okay.
Okay, mechanical.
Good. If you are doing mechanical, mechanical is the most opportunistic branch. So you can go either technical, you can go into engineering, you can go into administration. There are endless possibilities with mechanical. So honestly, I choosing mechanical was mainly this reason. I can go technical, I can go into MBA, I can go into an administration, I can go in engineering design part. All things are possible with mechanical. First, you have to do your SWOT analysis. What are your strengths and weaknesses? When you do this, you will try to understand, you can write either subjects or analytical skills. Which are your skills basically? Are your skills presentational skills? Are your skills analytical skills? or your skills problem solving skills, or is it team team working skills, for example, organizing a thing and so on. So when you write the list of skills available in the general and writing down which skills you have, then you will come to a area, okay, this skill, for example, analytical skills. Analytical skills are always good in software. When it is about team management and presentational skills, it's very good in marketing, for example. Then every skill has its own. So when you decode yourself, you will find which is the best way for you. When this is not possible with only me talking, so I think we can have a session directly. I will give my mail ID to Arun to share it across. Despite we can have on Facebook chat or something like this, you can connect to me and then I can give my advice. It will not be a single answer, only me speaking. Yeah, I need to talk to you.
Yeah. Okay, and one more question. Let's say masters. That's the question. Like on masters, is masters free for computer science? I think there is no tuition fee in Germany, right? It's free for all the.
Yes, that's my experience too. That it is free. The cost is around 600 euros that they have to pay a deposit for this engineering for the year, and then this goes into the account, and they will be given every month allowed limit for their expenses, and the cost of the course itself is around less than 1 lakh per year, something like this, or even 40,000, something like this. I'm damn sure it is either free, depending on the university and the course, and depending on the location. I'm not the best guy here because I did not do any master degree here, but I have several friends who did here. So if there are some questions really related to that, I can guide you to the right persons. So that's important in life also, right? So you don't need to be the expertise of everything, but you need to know where you can find answer. Because I know where Arun can help me, I know where Girish can help me, I know where Gautam can help me. So you need to have the contacts to find the right persons.
Yeah. How many levels in German language is there, and what is the entry requirement for education or for job?
Good question. So from language perspective, Europe has a better standardized approach. So if you look at any language, they have a standard levels of A1 and A2. A1 is really able to understand few words and few sentences. And then A2 is able to have a small conversation, or being asking question and answering, and then reading a small not a newspaper actually, but something else, like a small kids book story and so on. And after A1 and A2, there is B1. So B1 is a level where you are able to do a casual conversation on the street or with a colleague or during a coffee. And this B1 is the one which is needed for coming to apply basically. But even with A1 and A2, you can apply for a visa, you can come here and then continue your course here with B1. The companies here always look for at least B1 as the level to apply for jobs, because in the office without communicating in German, it is difficult for some companies. And I remember the early years when I am in the meeting, they simply skip and say, Kartheek, just wait 1 second. And then they continue in the German. And then after the ending the discussion, they simply say the summary, which I don't like, right? So that's why language is definitely important. And those are the levels: A1, A2, B1, B2, and C1 and C2. These are the 6 levels in European for any language, or even for English, that the standardized levels are. And B1 is basically necessary to wander or move around here. And for jobs, they expect also B1. But to apply visa, A2 is enough, or A1 is also probably enough.
Okay.
Any more questions?
I think one student, Yashashwini, is asking, like, what is the opportunities available for EC students in core engineering?
ECE, so communications, electronics and communication. So every application that I was talking about, it is not working with a gear. No? You know what a gear is, right? mechanical gear. It's not with a pulley and lever and engine and so on. So I only explained about one product called ERP. There are multiple products that other alumni are experiencing, and they have their own expertise. Every software that they talk about is going to work in coding, and every code that they do has to work in a processor. So for communications, there is two possibilities I see. Either you are in the core processor part, which is hardcore, or you are in the software to do the searching of the things. For example, the search engines, Google, Yahoo, Bing, and so on. So these are the two definite areas you have focus. And there are ultimate what do you call infinite possibilities for electronics and computer science in the digital environment. So we are working on Zoom, for example. So Zoom has its own software, all the functions that you are seeing here with a poll, summary, and so on. So someone has to code for it. How does it come from somewhere? So the coding guy might be a computer science engineer, or even probably not an engineer, just coding from school, So endless possibilities. Further questions?
I think we will share your communication details, your LinkedIn ID or something, so that let them get in touch with you if anybody wants to. So if anyone wants to interact further with Kartheek sir, if you want to know more information, so please get back to Hare Krishna sir, so that he will share the contact details of Kartheek, so that you can get in touch with him. And we have one last question from Mr. Girish. I'll put you on spotlight, and you can unmute yourself and ask.
Kartheek, thanks a lot for such a wonderful session. I have few questions for you, Kartheek, because usually many students will be approaching me for with a lot of doubts. Okay, this is particularly related to SAP. One is I have a question. The second one is I have also for Yashaswini, which I'll answer after I post the questions to Kartheek. Kartheek, generally, the basic few questions what students ask me about SAP is, the first one being, where should I do my SAP course? Should I do it in a very reputed organization paying a huge amount of money, or should I do in any organization and which is a recognized one?
Good. Is that the only question, or you have other questions?
I have few. Yeah, I think I post a question and you answer. That's a better way.
Okay, that's also fine. So reputed or any organization. So I also had this challenge, and I decided for myself that it should be reputed one, because my dad was funding it for. So given the option, you have the money, I would recommend to do the investment. But this is something which is 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Right now, there are so many graduates on SAP or any skill, for example. And right now, investing in SAP with a certification, investing 2.5 lakhs is not the best choice. You have to look at the market and how saturated the market is. So if there are already 20 years for a product, and if you are doing a certification on a product, which is the latest skill, for example, S4HANA, I was referring to. This is the latest skill, and having a certification here definitely makes sense. And you will have definitely a huge value to your CV. But if you are doing a certification on a product which was even 7 years old, it has a good chance.
Okay, I think you answered my second question also there, saying that my second question was, which certification should we do in a SAP course? And you answered it, whichever is as the latest trend, okay?
Exactly. So the right current skills are S4HANA, and it's not just for ERP again. So I'm not promoting any ERP, and I don't want to tell all the guys, okay, run to ERP, find out and do SAP courses. No, it's not my intention. My intention is to look at a newer area, which could be the application. For some would be e-commerce, some would be apps, some would be mobile apps, some would be process integration. several enormous possibilities. I'm just a small dot in the big universe in the skill point of view. And ERP is one such application. Definitely it's flourishing, no doubts, but do not close the brackets here.
Okay. Then the one more general question what they ask me is what do you say, like if I do a SAP course, okay, do I have good opportunities in India or should I look jobs abroad?
Right now, these are recently increasing. So the way I came to Germany was through Accenture. So Accenture got me here for 2 years, and then they said, okay, Kartheek, you can stay here. We give you a local offer. So I moved into Accenture Germany, and then I looked for my own, did my own analysis and choose to move out from Accenture. Having the question, if I'm a fresher, look for the job. It doesn't matter where. Okay, so either it is in India or anywhere. If you have an option, do it. Right now, it is also possible, not now, at least 7 months or 8 months before, it was a real good possibility also in Germany that companies were recruiting directly Indians with experience, of course. It's not freshers, basically. This is one thing. On the other hand, right now it's not the time to look for a job, going out and then searching for a job. This is not really the best way for financially. Searching from job at the home side, the most challenging times is for the freshers right now. So they are coming out, but they do not have too many job opportunities because of the recession, possible recession. India is not so much impacted. It's really well managed, believe me. I mean, Germany is also very well managed. Not like US, and US is really gone to dogs, looks like. From this point of view, look always for the opportunity locally so that it's more stable. You have a family support. For hook or crook, you have a support possible. So first option is job locally, or if possible, you have money, go for an education, master degree, specialization, additional course, things like that.
Okay. The next major thing is now they have there are two questions here. Probably like I'll combine it into one. They have a doubt saying that okay, fine, I do a SAP course. You, for example, you had experience prior before you did a SAP course. Okay. Most of the students, what is while we are advising students, they, I think there was one girl who was asking that question, Suprita. Okay. Or many questions, many people, they were asking what are the opportunities. So many might have told SAP is an opportunity. Okay, so they have a question like, can I do a SAP course without experience is one thing. The second one is, okay, some people, they also say that, can I do a SAP certification without training?
Very good. So good question. So SAP certification without training is one. The next question you had was
For freshers.
Freshers. Yeah. Good. So if I take the first one, SAP freshers. See, look, this is happening everywhere, but that's where my expertise comes into here. I honestly believe that working for some years will really give you, in the domain area, will give you definitely a lot of strengths. For example, you are becoming a consultant, you are doing a certification, and you go to a job. You don't know the process. You are just a consultant because you're certified. You somehow got the 1,000 questions or 2,000 questions, got it done, and then you answered the exam and you are passed. But then when you start with the job, the tough situations for functional roles is that you do not know the process. And that's where it is important for functional roles, especially like production, quality, and these ones. It's important that you have a functional domain background to understand how a business enterprise works and then take up certification if it is worthful. For the technical guys, it's just any other coding from that point of view. And it is still okay to start immediately. Answers the first question, Girish?
Yeah.
The second one was certification. What was it?
Certification, like, can I do a, what do you say, certification without training?
Certification. Yes, this is also possible. What matters definitely is the certificate from SAP. If you're doing a home course, it's really a valid point and a valid economical option. The exam cost is also around $5,000 or something like this. So it's not a small amount, but still it's worth than a classroom course. So this is definitely a good option too. But you need to take someone's guidance, else it is not so easy. Because
Okay.
an experienced guy needs to explain you how the things work. What is a BOM? What is a, for example, production case? What is a master data? What is a transactional data? What is a process? What is a database table? What is an exit? What is an user exit? What is a body? There needs someone to guide you. I mean, you cannot be an Ekalavya. No? You need someone.
Yeah. So the next question was almost linked to your, statement now. That is, how can I prepare, better for a SAP course? And if in case like I need dumps for my preparation, okay? I hope you understood what is the dumps, okay? So if I need more dumps for our, materials or for the contents for the SAP, who is going to help me?
Good. Material is definitely available online, something called IMG. So as you have to decode SAP into two, one is functional and one is technical. So functional means that you have to have the domain knowledge, and then you are going as a consultant. It's just for SAP, but then you're going to work as a functional consultant. This is one option. The second option is you have direct experience. So, Girish, what was your question again? I got lost.
How can I prepare for a SAP certification?
Yeah, documentation is available in the internet so much. So there is something called IMG, which is implementation guide. So how to work with SAP configuring things. There is a lot of documentation available. Just Google search SAP IMG, you will find a lot of information.
Okay, so I think, see, with this question, I think we have also answered a question from Akash, which says that I have a financial problem. How can we do the course? Okay, so I think Akash, Karthik has answered your question with this. And what do you say, like Yashaswini, what are the core jobs for, thank you, Karthik. Before I answer Yashaswini, what are the core jobs in which field can EC engineers can have a bright? Karthik mentioned earlier saying that I'm not expertise in certain things. Good that everybody will not be expert in all the areas. That's the reason the senior talks has come into picture, wherein we'll be, the college and the alumni association is trying to get your seniors who are doing extremely well in different fields from different branches. For example, earlier Samir Mehta was computer science, Karthik is from mechanical. The team is trying to get from other branches also, wherein you can post your questions to them and they will be the right people to answer. Okay, so I think with this, thanks a lot, Karthik. Others can take over.
We have a placement officer, Bhimeshwar Reddy, with some question.
Thank you, Girisha.
Karthik sir, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bhimeshwarji. Tell me.
Sir, my question is like, if a student is interested in SAP and he's going to the, coaching center, he's getting certificate and he's joining even in the company through this SAP. But after 3-4 years, if he feels bored and if he wants to become entrepreneur, may know what are the sources to become entrepreneur for a SAP employee?
So, entrepreneur means that he has his own company or he wants to make his own, he's an employer, basically, yeah?
Yes,
that's what I mean by entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So that's really a change of line, that he worked and then he has his own money and now he has an idea where he can change life for others and he can employ others. He can give bread and butter for others. It's a really challenging part depending on the country, how the laws govern on the loan and so on. It's really a specific case where someone has an idea. The idea is standing chances in the real market. For example, I'm not sure if this answer is in your question. If someone has a product idea that will change their life, or he wants to become an entrepreneur. In this case, the first questions are again, is your product going to be sellable? Or is your objective in the type of towards revenue or to the mankind, or is it a service? What kind of session is it? That's the basic questions you need to ask yourself. Do your own market study on whether my product, what would be the cost of the thing, what would be the break-even point. I do an investment of 1 lakh, in how much time I'm going to return this 1 lakh, meaning 1 lakh depends on the number of zeros. Then you need to understand what are the resources I need. You need water, you need plastic, you need cloth, what kind of resources you need. So it's a real business case study to be set up. It's a difficult one to short it in 2 minutes. Yeah. Someone wants to do entrepreneur. Yeah.
Right. I think we have gone beyond the schedule, too much beyond the schedule. Kartheek has not followed the,
I was looking, I did not, I followed the time until 8 o'clock, and then after 8, I was gone for toss. So at 8:30, I realized, okay, we are half an hour shoot up.
Yes. So kindly, we will share the contact details. If anybody wants to get connected to you, please guide them, please mentor them. And with this few words, I'd like to request Hari Krishna sir. And before that, thanks for the wonderful session, Kartheek. That's beautiful.
Let me thank before they thanking me. So it's really a proud situation. You cannot imagine. I'm having a session to students, and more than 60 people will listen to me. It's also really it's a proud thing. I was sharing to Girisha, I was so happy, Maga, so happy. So it's really a proud feeling for me. And with 8 years staying out from India, I had less opportunity to support. And I was saying to Girish sometime back, Girisha, I feel somehow lost the connect and not able to contribute. I don't know when. It was something about 7 or 6 months ago. Last time I met him in April, and this was words for me. So I'm really, really glad that the idea of senior talks came. And I'm really glad that the students really can look into their seniors who passed through the same shoes and retrospect what can be done instead of going through the same thorn walk. We are not saying that we'll make a cakewalk, but we are at least making a path easier for them. And it's really, really excellent idea, in my opinion, and well organized, well bannering, well marketing, and technically ensuring that Zoom works. You control the session, and it's excellent. Yeah. So my sincere thanks to Honorable Principal, Arun, placement team, and all the alumnus behind who are working hard to make this happen, and all the students, importantly, to stay and listen to me as a trusted senior, let's say. Thank you very much. Pleasure is mine.
Thank you, Kartheek. Yes, Hari sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kartheek, for the wonderful interactive session. So initially, when I got your number from MR sir, I was thinking how to approach you. And since you are in Germany and you're senior and you're junior of our MR sir, and I contacted you, and I felt very happy. And it was like speaking to my own student, a mechanical student, and it was that Royal Mech Cham. Whatever I got, your that sense of humor and the way you spoke to me, it was that humbleness I found in you. And thank you very much. And with this small note, it's indeed a privilege and a great joy for me to extend a vote of thanks on behalf of Sairam family. At the outset, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to our founder chairman, Sri MJF Lion Leo Muthu, who is responsible for us to be here. I extend my sincere thanks to our CEO and chairman, Sri Sai Prakash Leo Muthu, who has been a constant source of inspiration to all our students. It's great delight and privilege to thank today's guest, Mr. Kartheek Yadiki, for sharing his knowledge with his juniors. Thank you, Kartheek. Thank you once again. I thank Mr. Girish, Founder Secretary, Alumni Association, and other alumnus are also present here, Mr. Naren, Mr. Gautam, Mr. Goodwin, and Bhaskar. Thank you, Girish sir, and thank you all other alumni also.
Thank you all.
I
Sir,
thank our yes, sir.
when you said senior junior, for me that is little bit gone, and I see every individual as the individual, and never look down on anyone and never look up on anyone, and that's how I continue. So sincere respect to everyone, whether they are junior or senior or equal, or it doesn't matter. Equal respect to everyone. Thank you for the opportunity again.
Thank you, students. So feedback will be shared to everyone through SMS. Please participate in the feedback. So that will be the kind of gratitude what you are giving to. So whether it is good or bad, you can give a lot of inputs to us, like and feel free to share your feedback. And all the participants will be receiving the e-certificate from the Alumni Association. So thank you all. Thank you for the wonderful time. Have a great Sunday.
Namaste.